This is the video in question that I want to talk about today. Skipping neutral is a part of neutral. This fucking goddamn video, bro. Everybody's been asking me to look at it. Okay? I am not one to get into Lord Sajam's discussions because the last time I did, he told me to kick rocks. So I'm not trying to be on anyone's bad side, but I just thought I would respond to this video because it seems that there are a lot of points that I kind of disagree with. Maybe I'll be wrong and then I'll just get dragged on fucking Twitter. Maybe I'll fucking resonate with some people. But if that's the case, whatever happens, just know you could definitely smash that like button and hit the sub button so you know when I make more videos like this. As you know, I gotta watch this shit with a grain of whatever the fuck this is, and we're gonna fucking watch this shit, and we're gonna see what he's talking about.
This is a relatively
Neutral
new
skips.
term, actually. I don't think people really used the phrase neutral skip before maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Pop open yield and glossary and take a look.
No, he's gonna read it. He's gonna read it.
Go from a long range away to extremely close very quickly. Typically, you'll use a move that is pretty fast and probably also safe on block to do this. You know the zone.
Go back. There was more. Your opponent, who is probably expecting you to close the gap by playing footsies or navigating the neutral game in a clever way, will be surprised when your opponent comes flying at their face with a relatively risk-free move that skips past all that space. Your opponent will have to try to intercept or avoid the move, or if that's not an option, go complain on Twitter about how thoughtless your character is. You know what's crazy about how, like, this shit is so pretentious, right? When you play neutral, right, obviously part of the neutral game is going to be trying to interact with the tools that your opponent is going to use, which includes moves that fucking just bypass the fucking neutral game. But usually, right, those games that have the neutral skips, right, regardless of what it is, I'm not even talking about the new age fighting games like Street Fighter 6 or fucking granblue or whatever. I'm talking about like Street Fighter 5 even, or even Street Fighter 4. Some neutral skips were not plus. They were safe. And they didn't land a lot of reward unless you had resources, right? A lot of the time, you didn't get like a full-ass combo from just no resource in from the neutral skip. You got Oki maybe, but you were never like plus on block, plus on hit. You got a full-ass combo, unless it was like a fucking anime game, right? Generally speaking, the neutral skips, they are safe on block, but they usually can be counteracted against. There's counterplay against it. But the risk reward in a lot of these newer fighting games now is so tied to the person doing the neutral skip. It's not even funny. Like if I get hit by a fucking neutral skip new move in 2024, I'm losing 40-50%. It's not just, oh, they got in and they get the knockdown and they get Oki or a possible like vortex. No, they hit me, I die. Oh, the game is over. Like I lost the neutral. Now I gotta play offense, defense, and I've lost like 50% before playing that shit. So it's like, what? It's not the same as like older games where like usually, you know, you didn't get a full ass combo or the move was safe on block.
You know the zone where you're standing on screen like and you're jockeying back and forth? It just immediately moves you from here to here. Slide you, skip you, tackle you, dash, teleport, whatever, into their face, and you're like, what's up? How goes it? But yeah, I mean, you guys are listing lots of examples in the chat room, stuff in granblue, and then also pointing out Drive Rush and Street Fighter and just being like, what's going on with these games? Just making neutral skips system mechanics. How could they, you know? Modern fighting games is the death of footsies and neutral. People say that about every fighting game, right? And why do they say that about every fighting game? Is for some reason, if your two characters are not just like shimmying across the screen at this range, people get so mad. They just assume it's like not a real fighting game or something. I just don't get.
Well, okay, I can understand that. Everybody has their own belief as to what footsies are, and I think generally footsies is that shimmying back and forth. But I think anybody who is not detached from reality can understand that part of the neutral game will involve the opponent trying to lunge at you in some manner. I believe, once again, I have to say, a lot of the time when you play neutral, you're not expecting to get hit by a fucking move that deletes 50% of your life or punishes you for fucking just blocking. right? And then they're plus in your face or you lose massive resource from it. Case in point, another example is like fucking Honda's headbutt. If you don't parry it, well, it sounds to me like you're going to be fucking losing some drive gauge. Good luck trying to react with DP when he's got all these other options. The point is that there are a lot of neutral skips. And I think Honda, for what it's worth, is a little fair in the sense that he doesn't get a big ass combo from it. And it's safe. It's not plus. So he's not getting a massive pressure. The pressure is from the space he builds from it. But regardless, we're talking about games where like the fucking system mechanics themselves aid to the neutral skips and not necessarily the characters themselves.
Get it. There's lots of really strong options and ways to play, and forcing things with stuff like neutral skips is a really strong, effective way to play. They're part of the fighting game. In fact, they're one of the many options you can do in neutral, and being good with neutral skips makes your neutral good. Neutral skips are an important part about your own neutral and figuring out how to approach and get in. And if you're a character like Cammy or something, or Yun, and you're fighting JP, Chun-Li, or some character that's trying to zone you, I would hope you would use your neutral skips. Part of neutral is stuffing or intercepting or not dying to the neutral skip. And it's been like that in fighting games since the dawn of time.
Oh, yeah?
Thankfully, Lord Knight just like immediately drops a quote retweet almost 2 minutes long of just full of neutral skips. Like, look at this. Look at the oldest neutral skip of all time.
Yeah, he's inputting super every single time now.
He's smelling the game from right here. Like, literal full screen neutral skip. Classic.
Okay. Do not ever mention ST. Don't. All right? ST.
Oh, just full of neutral skips. Like, look at this. Look at the oldest neutral skip of all time.
Bro, there's no combo. There's no combo. You're in a vortex.
He's smelling the
You're in a vortex. If you're right,
game from right here.
if you're right, you're not going to be eating mad pressure. If you're right, you're not going to be eating a shit ton of pressure. You're literally just going to get hit and you have to guess again. It's still broken. Don't get it twisted. There's a reason why Vega is one of the best characters in ST. But no, a lot of the times, if you were to watch regular ass Super Turbo gameplay, a lot of it is I throw a fireball. If you jump, I anti-air you. If not, you know, you had characters like Honda and Blanca that tried to get in. You know, Blanca had the Amazon River run and fucking Honda had the butt slam. But generally speaking, a lot of those characters had a rough fucking time fighting against fireball uppercut. That's literally what Super Turbo was, unless you were playing like fucking Balrog, fucking Boxer, Claw, right? If you were playing those two, you were really fucking people up, you know? Outside of that, it wasn't that big of a deal. Nobody really had crazy neutral skips. And it didn't have moves that froze your inputs, you know? And then the other thing too is you're forgetting the rest of Vega's kit. Vega has fucking godlike normals. He has normals that reach the span of one character space away. So like, hello? He still had tools that conditioned you to stay patient and look for those normals so he could just do random wall dive in the fucking first place. So that's kind of why. Considering that and the fact of fucking Balrog doing the fucking dash low or dash straight and then trying to go for a throw loop on you was also fucking bananas. But the thing about it is a lot of these tools, you still had options. Like you could still throw tech, right? If you guessed right on fucking Vega, then at least you're not going to be put in the same scenario again. You'll be back at least in somewhat of a situation where you can interact, right? It's not like you just get hit by the neutral skip and you lost like 50%. That's the difference. It's not like I got hit by the neutral skip and I lost 50%. And even if you would argue like, oh, well, Balrog in ST has fucking turnaround punch. He has to fucking not use half of his kit. He has to hold all three kicks with his fucking palm to get fucking turnaround punch to be final to duff you. And even then, he has to have a read on your fireball. So it's not necessarily a matter of like, oh, well, this is a neutral skip. It's more like there's more layers to it and it's character specific. Not everybody's hitting you with tap for 50%. Only Balrog is doing it. Same way Vega's the only character that's doing this fucking vortex on you.
Classic. This guy just goes fucking. That's it.
Bro, but this is a whole round up. Chun-Li's up around, right? Chun-Li's up around. He stored a lot of meter. This is why fucking Yun is cheap because he's the only character that has fucking Grenadian. He's the only character that has fucking Grenadian in the game. No character is like Yun. Not even Chun-Li, who's arguably the best character in the game for having Footsies, right? The main reason why Chun is so good is because her fucking neutral game locks everyone down. The only difference to that is the antithesis to that is Yun. Nobody else is doing that shit. Maybe fucking Urien can do some shit with like Aegis Reflector, but generally speaking, he is also playing Footsies. Akuma, for how bullshit that character is, he's not even top tier, and he's not even doing a lot of these neutral skips the way people like Yun would do it, because Yun at least is plus and everything. It's literally just fucking Yun with Grenadian. Not every character in the game had it.
It's over. This match, dude, this match is so controversial. These two characters have to be playing the silliest looking neutral of all time. And people either loved or hated this match.
Okay.
Like, this is a great example. Like, these characters are not playing slow walk.
But guess what? That's reliant on the characters. I could pull up another match of fucking Shan versus Momochi.
Depending on the throws, but if
It's just these two just fucking zoning.
you trade startup for recovery,
Back to neutral. Momochi trying to get in. Poison is zoning. Walking forward. The neutral skip that Ken has is fucking EX Tatsu, and he doesn't get a big ass reward unless it crosses up and hits properly so he gets the combo.
and his reach is far enough.
And guess what? This is part of the neutral game. Jumping in on a fireball and punishing it. That, like, this, I wish, like, people could realize the neutral skips that people are talking about, that people hate, are the ones that are dedicated and relegated to the system mechanics and not necessarily character specific. Because back when it was character specific, like Street Fighter 4, El Fuerte versus Seth is a wild matchup, but you don't get that wild matchup in every matchup of the game.
Slow walking back and forth.
Only Mitsuru can do this, and look at the reward that Mitsuru gets off of this. She ends up going within the range to fucking play offense, right? But she doesn't get a big ass combo. She doesn't get a big ass combo. She's not plus, she's safe.
Characters are not playing slow walking back and forth.
Also, I want to add as well, by the way, that this has to hit as a counter hit. They can't hit as a regular hit. So the person had to already have been pressing something for it to give the sliding knockdown, if I'm correct. You just knocked them down and you got the space. You were able to clear neutral, but you weren't given like 50% and fucking plus on block pressure. You just weren't. Sure, you get the pressure if it hits on knockdown, but if they blocked it, it's nothing. It's just safe. And that's it.
It's walking back and forth neutral, right? That's just not how this is. Yeah, look at this. I mean, there's not a lot of neutral being skipped here. Like, this is the death of Footsies right here, right? Is this Footsies? Is this neutral? Is this Footsies right here?
With Morgan, right, she has the fucking Astral Illusion, which lets her spam fireballs all across the screen, right? But the thing about it is, if Chris sees that a projectile lands, he's getting a conversion and it's going into damage, right? And the opponent has to navigate that obstacle course and try to get around it. That's what Marlin Pie is actually doing here. Now, I understand.
There's not a lot of neutral being skipped here. Like, this is the death of Footsies right here.
I understand Marlin Pie is trying to bypass a lot of the shit, a lot of the zoning stuff. But to be completely fucking honest with you, like, the shit that's in Marvel, the way it's played, there is neutral, but a lot of the neutral is based around movement and around getting around various options, right? And the game is played vastly different. I feel like a lot of the things that people talk about when it comes to neutral skips is more around like more grounded based games. But Marvel is a very movement heavy game.
Right. Is this Footsies? Is this neutral? Is this Footsies right here? Right, Christy gets so
okay, this is fucking Blaze Blue. And you have Izayoi on the fucking screen. She's gonna teleport. Simple.
good at it that's like unhinged. Look at this clip. Teleport. It's like Phoenix. It's like Dark Phoenix. Like you just whoop, teleport overhead, delayed low, teleport, get the knockdown, fireball, teleport.
Okay, I can understand this is bullshit. This is Blaze Blue. There's a lot of bullshit fucking characters in this game. But guess what? All the examples you showed are all relegated to character-specific neutral skips. It's not necessarily the game giving everyone a neutral skip.
But neutral skips are really common. They're really strong in lots of different fighting games. They're a valid option. This is the problem, I think, with the term neutral skip, is there's a negative connotation. It's like, ooh, you're skipping, you're bypassing walking. They want you to stay over there where you are and not win. Like, they pick a character who has better normals than you, better zoning than you, better options in the mid-screen than you, better neutral than you. And then when you have the gall to be like, fuck it, I'm going to teleport in, they're going to be like, you would skip the neutral that I'm incredibly favored in. You would do such a thing? You would download a car? Like, it's like that vibe.
Dog, there is a reason Matera in granblue Fantasy Versus is considered like bottom 5 in granblue Fantasy Versus Rising. She does everything that Sajam is saying, right? Sajam is like, you gotta have, you got way better normals than people, you've got way better neutral than people, you got way better zoning options, but almost 3/4 the cast do not care. Once they get 50 meter, they just say, fuck your neutral, fuck you being a zoner, Matera. I'm just gonna get the fuck in for free, be plus on block. Oh, I guess I should have fucking anti-aired for like 30% or 20%. While if you hit me, I lose 50% and then fucking get put into a vortex or I die. Does Vera fucking care about Matera zoning? Hell fucking no. Once she has 50 meter, you know what she's gonna try to do? She's gonna try to throw out the stupid ass fucking, I don't know what the fuck her green friend is called. She's gonna try to do her fucking full screen low. You know, like she's doing everything in her power to try to bypass it. It's built to the mechanics. It's not even built towards the character. Because I could think of a bajillion other characters that are the same way. Seox has the wall dive, right? He can mix up between EX wall dive and fucking ultimate skill wall dive. Fucking Belial has the fucking taunt that fucking teleports him and he stomps on you from full screen. Fucking, but besides that, we can think of other characters with ultimate skills. Zoe, Stories, Nier, all of them just bypass with 50% meter. Like, you have to understand, a lot of the characters in granblue alone neutral skip the way that they do and bypass a lot of the normals that are being played, to the point where certain characters that were playing neutral in the previous game are now relegated to, if I have 50 meter, I don't care anymore. Narmaya is a good example. Narmaya still has the options to play neutral with you, but once she has 50 meter, she can just say, fuck neutral, I'm in your face now. I'll just teleport behind you, kid. Nothing personal, and do a full ass combo in the 80%. Zeta, top 4 in the game. Zeta used to be a neutral queen. She was playing a lot of 5M, 2M, fucking 5H. She was fucking zoning you with fireballs. You know, not like heavy, but she had the laser. Now it's like, oh man, anytime someone breathes, I'm gonna do this dive kick that gives me 80% fucking damage. That's only -7, but I bounce back so you can't punish me. No risk, high all reward. Like, what the fuck? We could talk about fucking DJ. Literally, we could pull up a DJ match and the first fucking 5 seconds is literally fucking dumbass drive rush jab. You're in the corner. DJ can do it. Luke can do it. Cammy could do it. Everyone can do it. It makes the game mad ugly. And it's worse in Street Fighter 6 because when they do it, the whole fucking screen freezes. In granblue, the game slows down. And if I get hit, I lose 80%. In that case, you lost like 30%, like 20%. But you were put in the corner where you got to worry about throw loop, drive impact, shimmy. Come on, man. At least in the older games, it was relegated to character-specific neutral skips that created very engaging and unique, diverse matchups. Now everyone plays the exact fucking same. It is why you have so many Lukes in Capcom Cup, because that character plays the game the best. He literally does the same fucking thing everyone else does, but gets massive reward in comparison. And a lot of these games operate the same fucking way. So to say, oh man, I just wanted to fucking play a little bit of neutral, I want you to stay over there and lose. Bro, fuck the neutral skip. Dead ass. Like, fuck it. I liked it better when it wasn't plus on block. I lost 80% and I'm in a mix-up. Like, that's insanity. Make it safe on block. I don't lose 80% for getting hit, and you just get Oki. Like it used to be.
If you want to say that it's a system mechanic thing, like people have said that about third strike parry, people say that about Street Fighter 4 focus attack. Like there's so many examples of things that people complain are system mechanics that allow you to do what you're describing.
What the fuck are you even talking about? Parry and fucking focus attack are both used mostly on defense, never really on offense. Like, parry, yes, you could jump in and then parry someone for trying to anti-air you, but then that forces the opponent to now change how they anti-air you, from doing DP to doing jab, 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 DP, to change the parry timing. That, or you can use other tools that are capable of stopping the parry. There are certain characters with specific tools, like Alex, who had ways to bait parry with his, like, fucking forward heavy punch or whatever. In Street Fighter 4, most people weren't using focus attack offensively until they added red focus at the end of the game. And even then, a lot of the games weren't really decided from red focus. Most of the time when people use red focus, it was to land a stun. It was not necessarily in order to bypass neutral. It wasn't really meant as a paradigm shift either. A lot of the system mechanics that were used were actually tailor-made to be more defensive, or to aid within the mid-range. Couple the fact that with focus attack, a lot of characters had the ability to break focus attack between, you know, Makoto's axe kick or fucking Yun's lunge punch or whatever other move. Characters had armor breaking properties on certain moves which stopped focus attack. And so you weren't necessarily able to just do focus attack by itself. The neutral skipping aspect of it came in the form of focus attack dash cancel, and even then that was relegated to certain characters with specific moves and toolkits. For example, you could do fireball with Ryu and then do focus attack dash cancel to go behind the fireball, but it was a waste of fucking bar because it was 2 bars to do that shit. So you weren't doing it all the time, and a lot of the time actually, even if you wanted to get something faster like EX fireball in the focus attack dash cancel, it was just not as viable. So a lot of the times you were seeing people saving their meter to use focus attack dash cancel defensively or from a hit confirm, right? So for example, if you were doing EXDP into focus attack dash cancel, in the earlier days of Street Fighter 4, it was actually +5. They had to nerf it and make it negative so people weren't doing that anymore. That's where the famous clip of Daigo came in, where he would do wake up fucking Ume Shoryu in the fucking focus attack dash cancel, right? Now he can't do that anymore. He could still do it, but he'd have to backdash to return to neutral because it was fucked up. Same way with other characters too. With focus attack dash cancel, there were people that were doing fireball in the focus attack dash cancel on offense, but it's super expensive, right? Whereas like all the games now, you just have to fucking do drive rush or do 6-6L and you're in. You just have to do the neutral skip and it's going to give you a net higher reward than risk. It is on the onus of the opponent to check the fucking neutral skip every fucking time. Every time. There's not like a big combo that the defender gets from stopping the neutral skip. There's not a big reward that the defender gets from stopping the neutral skip unless they have the resources. Whereas if somebody hits me with a fucking drive rush, need I remind you, DJ fucking exists. If he does it, I'm in the fucking corner. And he gets Oki. And he does damage. And everyone can do that. It's not just him. Now, you could argue, well, if everybody in the game can do the system mechanic, doesn't that make it balanced? No, because there are going to be certain characters that benefit from the neutral skip than others. And they're going to benefit from the overall change of the game.
Without neutral, we're just playing RPS. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, I would love to. Do you think neutral between your opponent and yourself is not you making guesses and playing rock, paper, scissors. When you walk forward and then walk backwards and try to bait your opponent to hit a button, and then they hit a button and then you whiff punish it, was that not you playing rock to their scissors? When you walk in and walk back and then jump to beat a fireball and your opponent doesn't fireball and then they anti-air your jump in, is that not them playing scissors to your paper? Like, part of neutral is making guesses about the things your opponent's going to do. Like, it's about understanding whether your opponent's going to try to approach, whether your opponent's waiting for you to swing, whether your opponent is looking to approach in the air, approach on the ground, whether they're doing nothing, whether they're walking, blocking, whether you should be approaching. The bad thing that you don't like, that you think is forcing some kind of decision making, you're already making that decision making in neutral anyway. You just like it more. So it doesn't seem like it's as big of a problem. That's okay. But these are just decisions you're making in neutral as well.
This is the machabo chart, right? This is the RPS that Sajam is talking about. Waiting and reacting to whiff punish, which loses to dash in and walk up buttons, which loses to preemptive buttons, which loses to waiting and reacting. Here's the thing. You can add other aspects to it. Will they jump? Will Urian do EX Chariot tackle in the V trigger? Will G do smash under into V trigger, right? Will Balrog do EX dash straight in the V trigger? Will fucking like somebody walk up and do sweep in the V trigger? The difference is the person walking up and doing sweep versus the three characters I mentioned previously that have the ability to just go forward and activate V trigger. Which, by the way, you know, even though the V-trigger activation is the system mechanic, those characters specifically have those ways to activate V-trigger, whereas other characters do not. But those are other things you have to consider. And obviously, that is all part of the neutral game. You have to guess and understand when these things are happening. Of course. But the difference is that in the older games, you didn't die for fucking trying to deal with a neutral skip from a very specific character. You didn't die from it. Street Fighter V, you might die if you get hit, but if you block, you gotta guess. And then that's it. If you guess right, that's it. Like, you go back to fucking neutral. The general consensus I'm trying to make here is that a lot of the situations that happen in fighting games are legit things that are very difficult for the opponent to interact with. 66L is literally not designed like a granblue button. It's not designed like that at all. It's the speed of a medium and larger than most heavies, and plus on block in the game where only stubby lights are plus because they're for pressure, which you do not get simply for touching someone's block in this game usually. And on top of this, all it has no recovery. It's an amazing Abare tool for stopping spacing traps that used to exist and starts a combo on hit that does hardly less damage than 5 HS starters. 66L wipes your whole ass for you. Exactly. And that is like the main problem with granblue, because you can just abuse 66L, and because you can plink the normal, right? You can plink dash because they decided to give you a dash macro for whatever reason. They decided that it is absolutely fine for someone to instantly be plus in your face. You cannot react to 66L. You can't. Don't tell me you can react. It's 8-frame startup, and it doesn't have any recovery. I've seen that shit whiff, and I'm able to block super after. That shit is busted. And there are a lot of system-wide mechanic neutral skips that exist in a multitude of fighting games that have changed the paradigm of fighting games to why, like, people are saying, like, damn, like, Footsies might be fucking dead.
This is weighted, right? If you're near your opponent, there are options that are more prevalent than if you're far away from your opponent. There's, like, different things that you could expect or look for. But, like, yeah, that's how this all works. It's just very normal. That's all. The point I'm making is not every character should be Vega. The more you think about...
The point you're making is that not every character should be Vega. That's exactly the point that everyone is saying to you. That's exactly the point that I'm making. I liked it when it was just Vega doing it to me. I liked it when it was just fucking El Fuerte doing it to me. I don't like it when it's everyone being Vega, when everyone is doing that shit to me. Because all it means is that you're going to get an ugly game where half the time players are fucking scared to even do anything without dying from some fucking neutral skip, or they're just gonna lose because they're just gonna try to play neutral and then they're gonna die for 80% off of just some, it's gonna look like this again, bro. They are definitely in the fucking corner.
Neutral skips as like some evil entity, the more you hurt your worldview about how fighting games are played. Truly, neutral skips are just moves you do in neutral. They're just moves. They're just stuff that you can do in the game that are pretty useful and strong. And understanding how to position yourself to deal with all of these strong options that people represent is so important. But also,
well, of course, but then you have the aspect of, wow, the drive rush eats my fucking normal because it freezes my input. I cannot count to you how many times I've tried to dive kick a JP doing drive rush crouching medium kick. I know they're going to do it, and I want to dive kick to punish them for doing the low, because that's usually how dive kicks are designed to be, like crouching normals. And because the drive rush will fucking freeze my input, it gives me back heavy kick, and then I lose. I get hit by the crouching medium kick. Do you know how fucked up that is? Because I knew he was going to do drive rush crouching medium kick. I knew he was going to fucking do it, but I still lost. So you're telling me I have to be near damn full screen? But then what if he does crouching medium punch? Isn't crouching medium punch disjointed for JP? I mean, we could go, oh, wait a minute. Every crouching medium punch in the game is disjointed. In Street Fighter 6, every crouching medium punch has a disjointed hurtbox, which is designed to try to check drive rush. The problem is that these normals can obviously be destroyed if you press a different button to stop it when you drive rush. So you have to space yourself to stop the drive rush. But then the problem comes, maybe the crouching medium punch may not be the right move in the scenario to do. You might have to do a different move. But if you attempt to do a different move, you might get fucked because the game destroys your input. That's like the whole point. The game literally slows down or pauses it, which destroys your fucking inputs.
why is it a problem if a system mechanic allows you to skip neutral? Is it a problem if a system mechanic helps you on defense? Or is it only when it skips neutral? I mean, a lot of modern games, that's true. They have extremely powerful cross-up protection and like unblockable protection. It's the same era where Street Fighter parry is like the best blocking you can do. It's so strong. Like that game has mega blocking. I gotta tell you, I have never played a game before when I try to mash on defense and it gives me a late throw tech. Like granblue and Uni, they're coming out within a month of each other. Gotta be two of the most blocking games of all time. And even in...
You think people are blocking in granblue? You're blocking. The to be playing before I made this video is literally motherfuckers mashing on wake up. It's literally people mashing fucking safe jumps, dog. No one is blocking in fucking granblue. If you're blocking, it's the worst thing you could possibly be doing. Dog, you could literally mash fucking... You can mash jab and it gives you throw tech because the jab, right, also can throw tech late for you. So you can mash at the same time. Obviously, the answer to that is to frame trap them. But then if they block, they can guard cancel. And then the fucking guard cancel is +6 on fucking block. So then they're going to just do the guard cancel. But wait, they're spending bravery points. So that means if they lose all their bravery points, they can just fucking die. But they can spot dodge you for you fucking trying to attempt to fucking like... They can spot dodge you for you attempting to break them for not having any bravery points. But the point I'm making is a lot of the shit that I'm talking about is all tied back to the system mechanics and not necessarily a character unique thing. A lot of the defensive options that happen in granblue are so fucked up because it's everything but blocking. It's everything but blocking. It's the same reason why everybody didn't like fucking Melty Blood when it came out, because a lot of the times people were just doing fucking moon drive on wake up, shield on wake up. No one was actually blocking. And because there's so much throw protection in a game like granblue, more than likely people are going to be mashing anyway. No one is like, this is why there were people fucking saying on Twitter, oh man, there's active defense now in fighting games. Dog, like what the fuck? People in Street Fighter do not block, by the way. People in Street Fighter will either mash DP, mash throw, jump, backdash, parry, because the parry gives you the most reward if you fucking do it. If I see you jump, I'm gonna fucking do parry. I'm not even gonna DP you because the reward is higher. Dog, everyone does everything but block. in most of these fighting games now. That is the last thing they want to fucking do. My God. And then because the system mechanics placate towards how like people play these games now, no one is trying to like learn how to DP anti-air. No one's trying to really learn how to whiff punish. Bro, you can literally just breathe and you can fucking win just off of doing half of these tools. No one's fucking blocking in half of these games anymore.
In Street Fighter, people say drive rush is a universal mechanic that skips neutral. How do you approach in a game like Street Fighter, right? What are your ways to get in against a defensive player? You have dashing, jumping, walking.
Yes.
And that's kind of it, right?
And then your character-specific tools. You have dashing, walking, jumping. You can choose to not get in and just throw a fireball. You can walk and press a button that's still doing something, and you can get your opponent to try to stop you for pressing that button and engage in the actual neutral game that exists. If the opponent is trying to check you for walking, then you don't fucking walk in the range where their button is going to hit you. You just fucking walk outside of it and then whiff punish it. Or you can fucking throw a fireball, because a fireball is an extended poke. You can jump at the opponent if you think they're going to throw a fireball. It's almost as if the neutral... It's something you have to play. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to fucking do shit like fucking this. I could play that clip like 5 million times. I could play it like 5 million times. Look, the same clip. Shan versus Momochi. Step kick. He's trying to use that to approach. Good anti-air.
Recovery on that. He's getting the EX uppercut. Oh, getting right through there. Yeah, and he's got the
this neutral skip right here. This is what y'all talking about. There's a neutral skip right here. This is the same as him, as somebody doing a fucking dive kick, right?
Yeah, he's got the link.
But guess what?
Oh.
Guess what? That's character specific. There are only a few characters that can do shit like that. Adon is one of them. Poison's one of them. You could say Cammy and Yun are one of them.
Give her cuteness.
Yeah,
Akuma. But it wasn't everybody that did it.
wow. Did he mean to use it? Was that supposed to be a fight he was doing? There where her button-
The Capri.
The way that Shen's been dealing with that is A, not being there, and B, lots of focusing. Oh, nice block.
Oh, yeah, he went for that meaty setup. Momochi's probably seen it before. Nice, gets behind, low forward uppercut. Soft knockdown in the corner. Trying to keep this pressure going. That dominating play that
How do you get it on Momochi?
able to get those distances against
How does he get it on Momochi?
has not been able to establish that here against Shen. But that-
Oh, he's fighting his way out the corner by playing fucking neutral.
But having said that, Momochi on the verge of trying to take this round.
Well, he has the corner.
Wow. It's almost as if they're playing a fucking ground game. And guess what? Guess what? The flip kick, it's not plus. It's not. You try to neutral. Oh, wow. It's almost as if there's interaction and the risk reward is leveled. The risk reward is leveled. I can't just do like the flip kick with poison and get a big ass combo unless I know you whiffed something. And at the same time, if I block it, it's safe. But then if I space myself out, I punish you, right? I punish you. It's the same amount of fucking damage. But guess what? If I block the fucking flip kick, I don't fucking get put into pressure. I'm not fucking getting destroyed. I'm not getting put into an omega block string. I'm not forced to eat plus frames on plus frames. It's safe. We go back to fucking neutral. And for the fucking poison player, the fucking flip kick has to hit as a counter hit. It can't even hit as a regular hit because then she won't be plus enough to get a combo. In some cases, she's just trying to use it, obviously, to get in because it's a neutral skip, but it's character specific. It's not system wide. Every character felt unique because of that. But now every character just drive rushes at you or just 6-6-Ls at you. And there's so much involved in that. There's so many things that take shit away from that takes control away from the defender. Like, I can't even walk back to adjust myself against drive rush because it freezes the fucking screen. I can't like stop 6-6-L because the opponent can just bind a dash macro and plink it and it's impossible for me to react because it comes out instantly and it has no recovery for me to whiff punish it. So I'm flailing my normals. I can't like react or engage with it. It's terrible. And the reward is massive because one hit from a drive rush or 6XL and I'm dying.
Besides using special moves or neutral skips or whatever. And in a game like Street Fighter, if the approach tools are too weak, what ends up happening is that the right thing to do in neutral is nothing. The best thing to do is just sit there and wait and be like, you whiffed, bam, whiff punish, and just hit someone every time they try to get near you. It's the same reason why offense generally needs to be stronger than defense. It's why approach tools in fighting games need to be pretty strong. And it's why if you look at a game like Street Fighter 6, they did make those options strong, right? Drive rush is clearly a very powerful approach option, particularly in a game like Street Fighter 6, where if you're stuck in neutral against a character and you can't get in, every time you block a projectile or normal, you could be losing drive gauge. Anytime you get whiff punish, you're getting punish countered, which means you're losing extra drive gauge and your opponent's getting a better combo. You know, truly the neutral can be very devastating if you're not able to get in against a character, right?
But not everyone is going to be able to whiff punish every fucking button, and blocking normals, right? Like, think about it this way. Like, you're saying that if drive rush didn't exist, people would just be losing drive gauge from people blocking normals. But it would actually be pretty even without drive rush. For the most part, it would be based on characters having specific neutral skips. Ken having Dragon Lash, or like Cammy dive kick, E Honda headbutt. And a lot of the times these moves have to be done very specific. They have to be done in specific scenarios. You can just throw them out if you want to, but 1000% of the time they require other things. Cammy, you have to space her dive kick. You can't just actually do it. You have to space it. Ken, you have to be careful the opponent doesn't just fucking anti-air you or drive impact you. E Honda, if you drive parry him, he just dies. Like, you have to understand that a lot of the neutral in Street Fighter 6, there are character-specific neutral skips, but a majority of the neutral skips that people are doing are drive rush. I cannot count how many times I fought a jury player and all they do is drive rush. That is literally how the character is designed. Sajam called 6XL a way for them to make characters compete with characters with big sword normals, and it made me so mad. They've never struggled with that. The game was balanced around these characters and their normals. He just made that shit up. Oh, of course, because if you actually played the game, there aren't that many characters with big sword normals. That's actually not the case. There's very few characters with big sword normals in that game. I can think of a character like Beelzebub or Percival or Lucius just came out. But in general, most of the characters have pretty well-rounded limbs. So I know he didn't actually care to play the game to understand that. So it's the fact that a lot of the normals in granblue were designed in mind to how the game was played. And yet, for some fucking reason, they added 6XL in the mix to just say, well, this stuff doesn't matter. 6XL is just a way to bypass a lot of the sword normals in the neutral. But there's not that many sword normals for there to be bypassed. So why everyone's doing 6XL? This is an easier way to get in. Fuck using any of the normals. And you have to think about it from that aspect, right? Let's say there were big ass sword normals in the neutral, and then you have 6XL. You look at your big ass sword normal, and you're like, okay, if I land my big ass fucking sword normal, I can get a combo. But if they block it, I get nothing, and I'm safe on block. Maybe I could cancel it into something, but it doesn't give me a lot of pressure, right? Whereas if I do 6XL, it's 8-frame startup. It literally moves at the speed of a fucking medium normal. It goes further than most other normals in the game. It can potentially anti-air because it has 3 active frames, and it's fucking 10-frame recovery, so you can't even whiff punish it. And it's +2 to +4 on block. And if it connects, you get a full ass combo. Why would you ever use the big lunging sword normal as opposed to just doing 6XL? It is why a majority of players just do 6XL as opposed to pressing fucking buttons. Unless you're talking about high level play. High level play is different, of course. But generally speaking, that is the case.
And if the best answer in a fighting game is, well, I can't approach, I need to do nothing, the fighting game is probably not going to be very interesting, right? It's why offense also needs to be strong. If the best answer...
But Street Fighter 4 was fucking interesting. Everybody fucking liked Street Fighter 4, at least the competitive side of it. but definitely not most of the spectators. The spectators thought the game was fucking slow. It's the same way they thought granblue was slow. If I were to pull up Gamera's match, right, for granblue, for EVO 2022, and I were to show you how that match was played.
My granblue fantasy versus commentary career started with Fire Heavy into here.
This is the neutral game for granblue. Not Rising. They're trying to whiff punish buttons. It's crazy, right?
This is it doesn't look offensive.
He whiff punished with a fucking Rekka. You don't have 6XL for that. You just fucking whiff punish with a button. And they're playing slow, back and forth neutral.
Trade so far, Gamera now opting for a little bit more mid-range fireball pressure. Lovely Fomiki, but no confirm out at this time. The delay on the fireball is going to get all that corner carry.
Yeah, normally you can just
Crazy. He won the neutral. Now, let's watch Games Grand Finals. 6XL at round start and teleports. 6XL. My man's mashing. He don't want to deal with it. 6XL. Button. 6XL. I'm plus. Neutral, baby. The neutral ended, by the way. It ended. I want y'all to know. The neutral ended. Once this happened, the neutral was over. It's over. What do you do? Dog, like that's the difference between the games. They're not even playing like it's not the same game. It's not. That's what players are talking about when they say that the game is like fighting games are having like this paradigm shift. Because I just showed you Street Fighter 4 versus Street Fighter 6. I just showed you granblue Fantasy versus Rising, right? I just showed you that the games are all like speeding towards this level of like everyone should neutral skip. Everyone should fucking be able to do it. And so no one is playing the actual neutral game, like the fundamental aspect of the game. I'm not saying that I'm godlike at playing that game. Clearly I'm not. But I understand that there was a clear difference between the pace of the game back then and the pace of the game now. And it's all meant to allow for more people to play the game. It's not necessarily meant with the competitive players in mind. That's just how it is.
Answer is, oh, I'm on defense. I just hold this down back and every overhead's reactable. Every throw is techable. No action can happen. We just walk back and forth and nothing happens the whole time and it's a nothing game. You need offense to be good. Secondarily, I think like a lot of fighting games have put in strong defensive mechanics or made blocking good in their games. Parry is so ungodly. Like it's the most powerful block. It's better than holding the block button in, yeah, like basically every other game. In the context of the rest of the game, you know, having a strong defensive mechanic like that makes sense because the offensive mechanics are strong. The neutral options are strong. The neutral skips are strong. The zoning is strong. Like, you know, there's all these good things that you can do in the game. And I think the game being tuned that way makes it a lot of fun. And it means that the power level of the game can be quite high. It's why when someone does stuff all of the neutral skips, they stuff your jump, they stuff your dash, they stuff your drive rush, they stuff your DI, they stuff that. When someone does all that, it's really impressive, not because it's easy to do, because everybody can stuff every approach, because the
It's not fucking easy at all.
approaches are weak. It's because the approaches are strong, and when players do react to everything, it's like, oh my gosh, they're so good. And when people
But the problem is that not everyone can react to drive rush. Not everyone can react to like Nier doing the fucking dumbass ultimate skill or like Zeta doing fucking dive kick. No one can react to those things. Half the time, all of the stuff that occurs slows the game down, or worse, you can't react to it. It's not easy to stop any of those things. That's why it's the best players that can do it.
do you play that solid defensive wall play style, it's because they're really that impressive and they have a good read about their opponent, and not because the game is so slow that any approach is just easily stuffable.
But the thing is, like, even when the games were slow, you got to see more of what players were doing to approach each other because you had to get inventive. You can't do that anymore. It is a risk to do that because if you tend to play too passive, what will happen is you will get fucking smoked. You will get smoked. A lot of, like, if you're thinking about, like, that wall-heavy gameplay, you have to think of, like, Snake Eyes. And the way Snake Eyes plays, he doesn't just sit there and do nothing. He walks forward and he presses buttons. He has to. Because if he doesn't do that, he's going to get fucking mauled. You can't, like, it's impossible to be able to react to half of these neutral skips. It's designed to be that way. It's not easy, period. It's not meant to be easy.
Fighting games are T-sided. Well, you put it like that. I'll take it. Yeah, that'll work. DJ has peeker's advantage. That's also true. I think most people probably agree that like a DJ drive rush is pretty ham. They can be too overtuned, but in general, they're fine. And you know, if they're too strong.
Dog, are you serious? Are you seriously saying that to me?
But in general, they're fine. And you know, if
they're
too strong like a DJ drive rush, they'll probably get changed. Also, some of
they'll
the
probably
drive
get
rushes in Street Fighter are not that strong, right? There are plenty of like Cammy or Manon. Like not every character has access to that. I don't.
Well, to actually be fair, there are setups where you could do with Cammy that you could do drive rush crouching light kick, and in the mid range you could also do it too. Because even though they're not great drive rushes, even Manon's drive rush is not that great. Obviously, it's probably one of the worst. But the reason it's still good is because it freezes your inputs. And it's very hard to change certain things like that. Maybe they could change how fast DJ's drive rush is or how far it goes. But in general, like, that's just the game. Like, that's the system mechanic. That is the game. That's not changing. Drive rush is not changing. It's never going to change.
Horrors of the world are like why I go to video games. It's an escape, right? I don't need them to be there. In the same vein, people are like saying that most modern games have less emphasis on footsies and more universal neutral skip mechanics. Street Fighter V invented everything puts you back to neutral always. Things not giving you pressure and resetting back to neutral is a kind of like a modern idea. Do you have a plus on block cancel from a normal? Sure. Your buttons can be canceled into V-trigger for plus frames. Let's say you block the sweep into V-trigger and they get plus frames and you hold down back for your life and they walk up and they hit light punch and light kick together, then you get ejected 800 feet from each other back to neutral and you play more neutral. I was there.
Street Fighter V was like that, where the throw tech was like that, where they got ejected all the way back to neutral. That's not true. Back when you played Street Fighter V and you throw tech somebody, you're actually still somewhat next to them, which means that you are in range of the opponent's heavy normals. And guess what? Crush counter existed in that game. Crush counter existed in that game. In Street Fighter V, when you did throw tech and both players teched, the opponent and you were in range of your heaviest normal, which were your crush counter normals. And if somebody had a faster fucking heavy than you were dying. So generally speaking, most players did not want to always press a button immediately after throw tech because they were scared they would just get fucking stuffed. In some cases, you have people getting throw looped. If you remember that, there's also Seth with how he was, or they were played and how they had like a pseudo throw loop and then they had to nerf it. Like there are things in Street Fighter V that still existed from both throw teching and from throwing in general that still exists, that is still a factor of the game. You could just press a fucking heavy normal immediately after throw tech, and if the person is getting crush counter, that's it. Like, they're dead. Like, that's just how that game was. In Street Fighter 6, at least both players are pushed back to neutral. It's actually the opposite. Street Fighter 6 pushes you back to neutral. If I'm correct, if his main point is that Street Fighter 6 was the game, or there were games that more or less tried to push people back to neutral from throw situation, I can understand that. But the neutral game still has to be played in a way in which you still have to worry about the system mechanic, which is drive rush.
Now, people did not fucking like Street Fighter V, and like people complained about the neutral skippy aspects of it, which existed especially more in the earlier parts of the game, but eventually it became like the game where everything just resets you back to neutral. That's like a recent modern game. Like in old games, every time you got hit, you got put into some nasty position. In modern games, they've definitely been like, you got hit, that's our bad. I know that the round has not been going well for you so far, and you've made a lot of mistakes, and you don't want consequences for your actions. So we're going to put you back to neutral, set you down right there, and just It's like, you know, when you fall off the map in Mario Kart and they just put you back up like this, they're gonna reset you on the track here, you're back in neutral. Let's
Dog. That's not what happens half the time, bro. I get fucking hit, it's a wrap. Like, Nier fucks me up, dog. Like, that is not what happens when Seox hits you. Like, what are you even saying to me? He's in. Dog, Nier? I'm in the nastiest mix-up. I got hit. I just lost 70%. Bro, I blocked. She's still plus. Should I just have not gotten hit in the neutral? Damn, I guess so. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Drive wall breaking was literally them being like, you got hit and fucked up. We're so sorry. Not only can you...
But there's wall splats in Guilty Gear Strive. People found wall splats. They didn't remove them. There are characters that can legit loop pressure by wall splatting you.
They recognized that was not so good, and now they're like, you got wall broken, now your opponent's building burst gauge, which they can use to extend their pressure with wild assault, which also steals your burst gauge, and it gives them a hard knockdown, and they can loop pressure with both roaming cancel and burst gauge back and forth and put you in infinite block stun, crank your wrist the whole time, and then at the
That's fucking dirty!
very end, they hit you with a one thing and you're dead. They're like, we're so sorry that before we reset you back to neutral. Let's make it way more fucked up.
And that's the point that everyone's making. It's every game that's like that, Sajam.
You can't open up your opponent, they get upset at defense. If they get opened up too easily, they get upset at offense. Like, it's all kinds of stuff. The reality is that these neutral skips, system mechanics or otherwise, have been strong in like every generation of game. They're not even man-made. They're like naturally occurring. You may be like, Sajam, you've talked about this 15 times. Why are you talking about this? The reason is somebody makes a tweet like this or says something, and then everybody on the platform is allowed to say whatever they want about this concept, this idea, or this decision. If I say nothing and I read hundreds of people being like, yeah, you know, neutral skips are so silly now. I've been playing fighting games for the last 7 days, and I can tell you it's never been worse than it is now. How will anybody else even know like what's reality or not? Like, great example.
So you're saying that you know reality, so you got to tell everybody what it is. I remember when I played these games, and I've been playing them for 15 plus years. You've probably been playing them for quite some time. But what I'm telling you, these games, it used to be characters with neutral skips, not necessarily system mechanics with them. Neutral skips were good, but it's as if now everyone's doing it, and there's so many things that take control away from the player. When you understand that, like, the games have literally shifted to more aggressive gameplay in a tournament level, it should tell you that there's an issue. He's very disingenuous. I agree with you, because it's as if like, oh, if I don't talk about it, no one will, and people will just get misinformed about like how, oh man, there's neutral skips and it's never been like this before. But the truth is, it's always been like this, like he said, but the difference is in how the game is built. Old games had neutral skips, but they were designed around each character, which created unique matchups. New games have now created it to where a lot of the neutral skips are within fucking system mechanics that allow people to bypass neutral with any character usually. And even if the tool isn't streamlined across every character the same way, like Street Fighter 6, where it's between DJ versus Cammy, it doesn't matter because the game's mechanics allow for the drive rush to freeze the screen. Or granblue allows for the game to slow down when you do the ultimate skill. It slows people's inputs. Or the game like granblue has 6-6L, which allows them to plink it with a dash macro and do it immediately. And when you get hit by the neutral skip, you literally lose about a fourth of your life, if not more, and you get put into a nasty scenario. And it's always been like this for a majority of these modern games that come out. And the best characters in the game are the ones that can force the nasty scenario better than everyone else off of the system mechanics and the neutral skips. That's why you see a ton of the same characters. Of course, it's been top tiers across the board for a majority of old school games too. But the difference is that a lot of those top tiers had character specific things that made them good, and it wasn't necessarily the varying like system mechanics of the game. They played the meta good just like they do now, but now a lot of the system mechanics allow for a volatile game plan across a majority of the cast. And majority of the time when people were doing neutral skips back in the day, you didn't blow the fuck up unless you were playing like BlazBlue or Guilty Gear. You didn't fucking just die. That is the key word. The key word for that shit is aggression. If you notice, you could see the difference. It's like night and day with these games. Do I think neutral skip is more interesting for spectators? That's 100% why it's made. It's made to make the game look entertaining and look wild. It's supposed to look like interesting. It's supposed to be just as interesting when someone stops the fucking 8-frame startup, 10-frame recovery neutral skip that gives you fucking plus on block frames and gives you mad fucking damage. It's interesting when someone stops it for like 20 damage. Or like when fucking someone does drive rush and then you hit it with a low forward and you get like Oki and like 20 damage. So yeah, like that's literally why it was made. It was made with that in mind, for people to watch it, spectate it, enjoy it, for casuals to feel like they have a chance and get some accessibility off of it, you know, but it definitely wasn't made with competitive markets in mind. And yeah, I would say when this entire like paradigm started, it was with like games like Street Fighter V and Dragon Ball Fighters. But Street Fighter V turned to be a game where it was more focused around the neutral. When you play Street Fighter VI, there is neutral game involved, but it's very minuscule. The amount of options you have when trying to stop your opponent from just holding forward with multiple things that they can hold forward with. So, I don't know, man. Like, it's just, this is what it is. If y'all enjoy these games, that's great. You know, a lot of the competitive market, they don't really like these games, but they play them because obviously, what can you do, right? And we still love fighting games. That's why we play them. It's not like we hate fighting games or because we hate this aspect, that means we hate all fighting games. It's just a matter of how the games have changed throughout the past couple of fucking years and how like these games have become more modern. And we're happy. I'm happy that more people are playing. I'm not happy that more people are playing because they had to change the game in such a drastic way to force more aggression. Like, it's really fucking bad. So anyway, y'all let me know your thoughts. This was a long one, you know, got a lot of editing to do, but yeah, if you guys like the video, let me know down below and leave a comment. What do you think about my opinion on this? What do you think about how I responded to Sajam? I got no ill will towards Sajam. I don't, you know, I'm just giving my opinion the way I want to. And yeah, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this. Anyway, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.